said I couldn't do nothing without him.
Who are you to tell that I can't go on without you? And why you telling me?
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Nadia Matthews, author and vision coach, and I hope everybody is having a terrific Tuesday. Mine is. I am so excited. Today, we are launching my show, What's on Your Shelf, where we talk to authors about what they're reading and what they've been doing. So, since we're going to do that, I definitely have to tell you guys what I'm reading. But before I tell you what I'm reading, I just got to give a shout out to one of the baddest producers in Atlanta, Mr. Roy of Jericho Broadcast Network. Yay! Do we have applause on there? We don't have any applause? Oh, he is awesome, you guys. I really appreciate him just seeing the vision and wanting to tag along. So I am so glad to be here today. We're going to be talking to one of my newest favorite authors, Miss Kristin Wallace. We're going to talk to her in a few minutes, but you guys, I got to tell you what I'm reading. I am reading a book called Mud Vein. Just stop what you're doing right now. Go to Amazon and get Mud Vein, and it is written by Miss Taryn Fisher. Now, I want to warn you, it's a great book. If you're a reader, you're going to love her style of writing, but you're going to be confused. I know you're saying, what? Did she just recommend a book that's going to confuse me? Yes, I did it. I'm telling you guys, her writing style is amazing, but she just draws her reader in, and you're standing there confused and trying to figure out what's going on, but it's a great feeling. So I want you guys to have the same feeling that I'm having. So I want you guys to just run out, go to Amazon, go to Goodreads or iTunes and download that book right now. All right, you guys, so with no further ado, we've got to get into the show. We've got to talk to Miss Wallace. Kristin, are you there? I can't wait to talk to you.
I am here, yes.
How are you today?
Good. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, I'm so excited. When I decided to launch the show, I said, oh, gosh, who's going to be the first? Who's going to launch this show? And then I went into my Kindle, my trusty Kindle, and I went scrolling up, and I was like, yes, because as soon as I read Marry Me, I guess it's been about 2 or 3 months ago when it first came out, when you launched the book, I bought the book. And, and as soon as I bought it, I could not put my Kindle down. I told my children, my little minions, that's what I call them. I said, please leave mommy alone. Please let me read. And I love the characters. I love the storyline. I have to know, please tell me, where did you get the idea? When did you start writing?
Well, actually, I think I'm honored. I'm your first guest. I didn't know, so thank you for that. I've probably been writing for most of my life. I probably as far back as high school, I guess. I was writing. I started writing. I don't know. I guess it started out as a chapter and it became a scene, and then it became a whole unwieldy book. And I kind of wrote almost in secret. I don't know. For a long time, I didn't know what I think I was probably in my mid-20s before I figured out that I was supposed to be a writer when I grew up.
So Kristin.
Yeah.
So since you were writing in high school, I'm assuming that you were reading at the same time. And I love your bio because it says that you went from reading golden books to Laura Ingalls Wilder and C.S. Lewis and Sweet Valley High. So what was the first book that you read that you just knew, okay, I have to be a writer?
Well, I don't know that reading the books led to that early. I mean, I was into all those books. I love The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Mm-hmm.
That was, I don't know, that book. I read that probably who knows how many times. And all those the Little House on the Prairie books. I don't know. I was always just reading something. I probably shouldn't have been surprised that I would start writing them. And then at some point I started reading romance novels as well. So I guess it just became a natural.
Awesome.
I read so many, I'm like, oh, okay, let's write one of these now.
Now, I think I did the same thing that you did, Kristin. I wrote a lot in high school, and I know my best friend, Keisha Randolph, is listening right now, and she's shaking her head because I wrote stories for everybody when I was in school, but I started to kind of develop the love writing, so I really loved writing about love. And so I know that you write romance novels. Was there a romance novel that really led you to writing romance novels, or did you just kind of ease into that?
I don't know. I probably started reading like those Danielle Steele novels, which they're more. I don't know. They're episodic.
Right. I was gonna say, Kristin, that's a jump now. You reading C.S. Lewis and then you jumped over there to Danielle.
I know. It was a jump. Yeah, I don't know. I guess she was probably one of the first, like, in that genre, close to that genre that I read. I don't know who exactly. I would just, anything that was probably a romance, I would just pick it up. Anything funny. I loved humorous authors all the time. I was always a big fan of, like, Susan Elizabeth Phillips and those people.
Okay.
So anybody like that, and they definitely, like, influence my writing because I definitely write with humor.
So yes, you do. Yes. Well,
yeah.
Tell the audience a little bit about Marry Me, because they haven't experienced it the way that I have. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah. Well, Marry Me was actually it's this very cynical single woman who just doesn't believe in love, and she hates weddings, and she winds up having to take over a wedding planning business.
Wow.
And that was kind of just my concept from the beginning, and she is basically, some of her parents had these multiple marriages, divorces, and she bounced around between them. And so she just decides that this thing, whatever called love, it's just a crock. It really doesn't exist. And one of the marriages of her father was to this Southern Christian lady in this little town. Yes. And she lived with them for a couple years, and when her father was married to him. And then when that marriage was over, she kind of lost that family. So she thought, and now they've called, and the stepsister is having a crisis with her pregnancy, and she needs help running this wedding planning business. So Julia, who is my heroine, she agrees to take this on, and then in the process, she meets the guy who is he's the widowed minister in the town, and he lived across the street from her, so she kind of knew him vaguely, but they weren't like hanging out, and he was a little geeky and quiet, and now he's a minister, and he's a widow. He's lost his wife a couple years before. So they have a really great dynamic because he's, everything that he is with his faith and everything, she's kind of the opposite, and like, I don't get into that, I don't understand it, the whole faith thing is kind of the same as love. It's like just this thing that people put out that's doesn't really exist. So she has to learn that love exists and that she is loved more by this family and also by God as well. So.
And I love the transition that she took throughout the book, because when she starts off, she is really like an angry woman. I mean, even when she sees Grace, like Grace is the only one in the story that and her former stepsister were the only ones that could really make her soften up. And so she kind of comes in with her guard up, like, I don't want to do anything. I don't believe in this love stuff. And, I just lost my job. I really don't want to talk to anyone. And they're able to really, faith is what brought her peace and love. And I think that's the thing that I really loved about the story the most, is how she really transitioned through the story. And she was introduced to God and love in various situations, which it wasn't blatant in the story. It just sort of happened. No one really just sat down and ministered to her or gave her a word or anything like that. She didn't go to all these church services. She just saw the way that everyone lived, and that's what ended up drawing her to Christ. So I thought that was a great part of the story. Now, every writer puts a little bit of themselves in the story. So, Kristin, are you trying to tell us that you have a little angry woman inside of you?
I don't think so. I don't know where Julia came from. She's pretty different. She's very snarky, I like to say. Mm-hmm. She's very bold, and part of her standoffish is a protection thing, because no one has ever stayed in her life. Everybody's kind of left, or she's been dragged away. So she's always, put up barriers, I guess, probably to protect herself in the end. But I don't know where she really came from. I guess just it was just the idea of, like, when I was trying to figure out the story, like, who is this woman? Like, why does she hate wedding? Why is she so cynical about love and stuff? And where does that come from? And actually, the whole faith element was really not something I had planned when I was first thinking of it. And it really only came in when I figured out that the hero was going to be a minister, who was Seth. Mm-hmm. And I always kind of say, like, I blame him for the whole series. He wrote the book. Because once I had him, I knew I could also put in this element of a faith journey as well as a romance, which was kind of intriguing to me, and doing it in a way that didn't feel preachy or like that I'm pushing something, but showing it in a real way that I guess I've experienced in my life, and that maybe people don't really see that much in popular culture. So.
Great point. Well, you guys, we're going to go on just a quick break. We're going to come right back, and Kristin's going to tell us about the new book that she's just written, coming out of Covington Falls. So you guys tune in, give us just a moment. But I just want to say, if you guys have any questions for Miss Kristin, when we come back, I'm going to tell you how you can ask those questions. We'll see you in a moment.
In need of a dessert for a special event? Maybe a custom birthday cake. I know, it's your wedding day and you want a cake that will stimulate your taste buds and capture and create the memories for that special day. Well, Sweet Destination should be your choice. Let master sweet designer Montevia Gamble create a unique and delicious cake for your special occasion. But that's not all. Sweet Destination also creates other desserts, from cheesecakes, homemade fudge, brownies, cookies, pies, cake pops, cupcakes, and just about anything that you can think of. So check them out at sweetdestinations.com or on Facebook under Sweet Destinations. Remember, the greatest conversations take place on the road to the sweetest destinations of the human mind. So let's do more than business. Let's make memorable moments. We are Sweet Destinations.
Everyone needs a way to add gold to their financial portfolio. Carrot Bars International makes gold affordable to the masses with the freegoldplan.com. Get gold in 24-karat 999.9% pure gold bullion in small, affordable weights. Save your money in gold and even get paid to share with others how to do the same. No broker fees, no setup fees, and with referrals, your gold can be free. Go to thefreegoldplan.com. That's thefreegoldplan.com now.
Tap Out Studios of Hollywood is one of Atlanta's newest visual and performing arts centers designed for you to perfect your creativity. Our 3,000 square foot event space includes a full bar, VIP section, movie screen, and 2 stages. Take advantage of our Spring Fling package deal for new and existing clients. Save over 40% when you rent our venue for $700 for events with more than 100 people. For booking information, contact Kendra at 404-578-1454. Located less than a half a mile off of I-20 off Fulton Industrial, we are Tap Out Studios of Hollywood, 620 Interchange Drive. Tap Out Studios of Hollywood. Inspiring creativity, changing lives, and making dreams come true.
And we are back, you guys. If you are just tuning in, I am Nadia Matthews, and this is What's on Your Shelf. We have one of my favorite authors on hold right now. Her name is Miss Kristin Wallace. She is the author of Marry Me, and just recently she just released Acting Up. So you guys have to run over to Amazon or go to Good Deeds or wherever it is that you Kindle, all those places. Somebody just download it right now. I promise you will send me a tweet or Facebook or email, I don't know, a carrier pigeon. Somebody's going to tell me how good this book is because I absolutely love it. All right, Miss Kristin, you on with us? You still with us?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, I'm here.
Great. All right, so I am very, very excited because I know you just came out with a new book. I haven't gotten it yet because I really need to get through this mud vein. I'm telling you, I have a headache every day I read it, but I just can't put it down. So have you ever had a book like that? It just gives you a headache, but you just can't put it down? I've got to get, and it's in sections too. So it's like volumes inside of the book. So I have to focus. Okay, Kristin, I have to focus.
Yeah.
So I want you to tell us about Acting Up. Are you going to read? I heard you're going to read a little bit for us too.
Yeah, I can. Acting Up it's the second book in this series. They are kind of standalones. You don't have to read the first one. But some of the minor characters from the first book, Ethan Thomas, who's a friend of Seth's, the hero in the first book, is the hero in this one. He gets his own love. And the book is basically this Hollywood diva. She's in like a dynasty-type show. Only she was the Alexis Carrington character, the bad lady. Mm-hmm. And her husband, who is the producer of the show, ends up having an affair with the actress playing her daughter on the show, who's, half his age. And so she, in a bit of kind of anger, punches her out on set.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And so she's fired, basically. So she's lost her marriage and her career, and she kind of goes to Covington Falls, where she actually lived with a couple years with her aunt when she was a teenager, to kind of hide out and figure out how she's going to get her career back. And she winds up being asked to direct the high school musical. And she kind of does it as a way of thinking, oh, this might be good publicity for me, that I'm doing this good deed. I think I'm, and ends up kind of falling in love with the kids in the town and also with Ethan, he's the principal of the high school. And so it's very fun because I got to basically kind of create a fictional musical. And I based it sort of on the My Fair Lady, only set in a high school. And got to kind of come up with my own little play within the story, so that was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Now, I just want to give our listeners a phone number. If you have any questions for Miss Kristin, please don't hesitate to call in at 678-701-3738. Again, that number is 678-701-3738. All right, Miss Kristin, go ahead and read us a little bit of that story, just a small little snippet, and then I have to know what you're reading because I feel like you can just tell a lot about someone based off what they're reading. So,
okay.
So go right ahead.
All right. Well, this is the opening scene for Acting Up. Dear Diary, I died today, deliberately plowed down in the middle of the street by the proverbial black unmarked car. My funeral will be mobbed by the movers and shakers of the fashion world on 3 continents. The inquiry into my death will bring about a national manhunt for my killer and spark at least a half a season's worth of whodunit episodes. The list of suspects will be a mile long. My faithless husband, my nemesis and rival in romance and in business, my drug-addicted son, my angelic daughter, wronged business partners, wronged business adversaries, pretty much anyone who ever had the misfortune to cross Corinne Barrett or get in my way. Cut! We've got it. Let's set up for the next scene. Shouts went up as the director called out instructions to the crew members. With a deep sigh, Addison Covington opened her eyes, Rolling onto her hip, she performed an inventory of the various parts of her body. After being jerked back by the harness attached to her waist and landing on an air mattress in the middle of the street, she'd expected to feel like the roadkill Corinne had become. Her back will be protesting the abuse tomorrow, but for now, she was only a little sore. One of the grips approached her landing pad and helped her stand up. "You all right, Addison?" "Never better, Charlie." Yeah, she wasn't really dead. It just felt that way. Corinne Barrett Channing, ice queen and ruler over the Barrett Empire in the hit drama House of Fashion, was toast. But Addison Covington, her portrayer, was sadly still of this earth. She slipped off the jacket of her white Armani suit so Charlie could remove the harness and fought back a wince. Perhaps she'd been wrong about only being a little sore. Charlie scowled. "I told you to let your stunt double handle the fall. I'll be fine." Even as he unhooked the contraption, other crew members removed her landing pad, setting up the scene to reveal Corinne's body lying in the street. At least Addison would be spared the humiliation of having to play dead. That job would go to her stand-in. Addison's job here was finished, literally. "Stubborn woman," Charlie said with a growl of affection as he took off the harness. "Thank you, Charlie," she said, kissing his cheek. "You've always been a prince." He shoveled his feet and leaned in closer. "You deserve better, Addison." "Not according to the gossip rags. They all think I should be burned at the stake." From behind her, a familiar feminine voice rang out. "You punched America's sweetheart in the nose. What did you expect?" Addison glanced around to see her on-screen nemesis and off-screen best friend, Sidney James, approaching. "I expect it should be acceptable to rearrange someone's face after she's stolen your husband, but then I'm old-fashioned that way." So that's the opening for acting up.
Ooh, I'm ready. Yeah, I like that. I'm definitely going to have to I'm telling you, as soon as I get through Mudvayne, it's going to be me and acting up all day. All right, so, Miss Kristin, I have to know, what is on your shelf? What are you reading right now?
Well, I just picked up, actually, it's, if you've ever heard of Kristin Higgins, I just picked up her new one. It's called Waiting on You. She's probably one of my favorite contemporary authors right now. She knows how to write humor well, and she's able to put humor and kind of make you laugh and cry on the same page. So I always admire writers that can do that. So,
do you read? Please forgive me. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
I was just going to ask you, now I know you write inspirational or faith-based fiction. Do you read just inspirational or faith-based fiction?
I do occasionally. I don't know how much of it I actually read myself. I guess if I don't know, I probably find more of it in the vein of what I write. There's a lot, I don't know, there's a lot of stuff like the Amish stuff is very popular in Christian fiction, but I don't know if that's really my thing to be reading. But I don't know, I like contemporary authors. I like to read Regency historicals a lot. There might be some inspirational put in there too.
I think I read a little bit of everything. I don't like to read. The only problem I have with inspirational fiction is because I'm a real romance reader. So then I like a love scene every now and then. Like nothing graphic, I'm not quite 50 Shades, maybe like 38 Shades or something. You know what I mean? And what I loved about your book was that it wasn't any love scenes like that in it, but I still felt the passion in the book. I could still feel the intimate tension between Seth and so I think that made up for the fact that there wasn't a lot of love scenes. But that's the only thing I can't get with the faith fiction books is that I can't get anything. I can't get a kiss. They don't kiss at all. They just hold hands the entire book. Like, I don't believe that. I like it when it's a little bit realistic.
Yeah, well, that's actually, I guess, I don't know, it's one of the challenges of writing inspirational is still portraying that they actually do desire each other, that they maybe want to, but they just don't, they can't, or, so you still have to have the tension in there, or, like, who cares? So, maybe it's harder when you can't have the love scene. I don't know.
It may be a little bit harder. I think that because I write faith fiction, and all my books have love scenes in them. The people are always married, and I really think that it was important. I thought it was important for me to have a realistic, view for everyone else, because my book is called First Ladies Club, Rocks, Rings, and Resurrections. That's the latest book that I came out that's in my First Lady series, and there's tons of love scenes, and I thought that that's what made my story original, because you found God, you found faith, you found, your love, but you also had a realistic view of a married couple. So I think that's something that was very important to me. What do you think about books that have, the intimate love scenes in them? And they're faith-based.
I read them, yeah. They're in there. I think when it's integral to the story, it's okay. It can be overdone. Mm-hmm. I think the effect of, like, the 50 Shades of Grey has kind of, it's dwindled down into the mainstream romance as well, because, now I have to make my stuff hotter because of that. So, there's, it could be, I guess that, I don't know, it's hard for romance writers, they're having to compete with that kind of stuff now for the mainstream.
Yeah, to get their book out there, because that book wasn't necessarily, like, I don't know, the best writing I've ever read, dun, 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 but, it was a phenomenon. It is a phenomenon, and it has a movie, so, no matter what I may think about it or what other people think about it, the book is flying off the shelves, and she never logs on to Amazon and reads the comments. she just goes to check her bank account. Let me see what happened. Oh, yep, I'm good.
I don't really care what the comments say.
Yeah.
At that point.
So now, Kristin, are you a self-published author, or did you go with a traditional publisher?
Well, these books now are with it's with a small publisher called Astrea Press.
Mm-hmm.
It's ebook to print.
Mm-hmm.
And they specialize in what she calls clean reads.
Mm-hmm.
They do romance and fiction. I guess it was kind of an answer, actually, to all the erotica type stuff, that was out there, and all the different publishers that specialize in that. So I think she's, basically started it as a way to have another angle of fiction, So, it's a nice company. It's a pretty good fit for my books.
What made you go the traditional route versus the self-publishing route?
Well, at this point, there may be at some point I would try self-publishing. The time element, right? And I do have another full-time job, so that takes up a lot of time. It's a very big time commitment.
It is.
And it's not cheap.
No.
If you want to do it right.
Right.
I work in advertising and marketing, so I guess I know a little bit more about what it would take.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe somebody who knows nothing, maybe they're not as scared. So, I just know, maybe hopefully at some point my life will be in a place where I could actually, because it's a business, So it's, something that maybe someday, I think any author has that dream to see a book someday on, the shelf of Barnes & Noble or whatever. Who knows, I might try for that too.
Well, do you think
I don't know.
Do you think that, and I have to be honest with you, I think that the wave is going online. I think that these big box companies are like the Barnes and Nobles and the big places are just going to go out of business because everything is going online. What do you think? Do you think that people are going to be more concerned with getting their books on the shelves?
I don't know. That's an author thing. And I love to go into the bookstore and just scan the shelves and find I grew up in bookstores, so I still love it. And I still love my paper stuff. I like to turn the pages and feel it and hold it. I guess it's a little old-fashioned. Who knows where the whole publishing industry will go. I don't know if Barnes & Noble will be here. I don't know if we'll go back to smaller bookstores. Like, we lost most of the independent ones.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we'll end up going back to that, because who knows? The whole publishing in the last few years has been turned on its head, and I'm not sure anybody really knows exactly where it's going.
Well, everybody can pretty much publish a book now, so that's probably what's happening to the industry. But I think when I started out in 2010, when I wrote my first book, How I Let Her Steal My Husband, when I wrote that, all I waited for was my big box of books to come and to look at that that piece of material and say, oh my God, this is my book. Like, I'm so excited. And then I would go to, different trade shows, and I would vend and all of this. And people would go, can I get your book online? Well, where can I find it online? Is it on Amazon? Is it on iTunes? And I was like, but I don't want to put my book on Amazon and iTunes. I want to hand it to you and sign it. And I think now, and eventually I gave in. I'm telling you, I fought the Kindle phenomenon for years. My husband kept saying every year for the last 4 years, I'm gonna get you a Kindle. I'm gonna get you a Kindle. I don't want a Kindle, honey. I want a book. Go to the store and pick up a book. And then finally I said, you know what? I can get a lot more books on this iPad with Kindle than I can keep going to the store and buying these paperback books. Plus, he got tired of there being no room on the bookshelf for anything else except for my books. I have a book addiction. I have cases and cases of books. So I'm with you. I love the feel of a book in my hand. I love to dog ear it. I'm a person that dog ears books. I know that that's like a sin or something, but I do it.
I do that.
Yeah, I love all of that, bookmarks and things. But now I realize everything is digital, so I'm moving with the wave. I'm definitely have given up my print op. Now it's funny. The last event I did, people were like, "So you don't have any print copies of your book?" I'm like, "You can get it on Amazon." So look how the tides have turned.
I mean, there are still people that still want to print. So.
Yeah. So tell me, you've written 2 books pretty quickly. Are you taking a break or?
Well, and actually, and there's a 3rd book actually coming out in July 1st, for this series.
Oh, wow. So you're
called Imagine That.
So, did you wait and write these all kind of at one time?
Well, the thing is, it took me a long time to get published.
Okay.
So I actually had written these 3 books pretty much before I got published.
Wow.
So at least I had them, kind of there, just kind of waiting for somebody to decide that they liked them enough to publish them. And I'm working on a 4th one, which is supposed to be a Christmas theme.
Well,
I'm not the fastest writer, mostly because I have to juggle a day job and all that stuff. I guess the one benefit of not getting published right away is that you actually write a few things before you kind of have them in your pocket.
So how many, I'm interested to know, did you send out a lot of query letters? What was that process like for you to be traditionally published?
Yeah, well, I did. Well, actually, now I have an agent, and because I was writing inspirational, most of the houses you could really hardly get in. You couldn't even send your stuff unless you had an agent. So I kind of focused on that. So I had it for probably 4 years, and so she was basically doing the editor queries, but the traditional publishers didn't really want me, so I don't know. Who knows? So and I went with this EPUB, which is kind of a new venture. Mm-hmm. So I've tried the traditional route too. So nothing saying that I won't try that again with something else.
Cool. All right. Well, I am excited for you and happy that you've gotten all these books out and now you are ready for the next phase. So what are you doing next after the book? Is there anything else that you're passionate about besides writing?
I don't know. I sing.
Okay, I saw that you sing in your choir. I saw that.
Yeah, I do sing. I don't know what I'm working on next. I'm usually just thinking about my next book.
Mostly thinking
that
about
will be. Yeah.
Do you have any events coming up?
I am actually going to be. I'm part of Romance Writers of America, a national writers organization, and I'm actually presenting a workshop on how to brand yourself as an author at the convention that's in July. And I don't know, that's probably my biggest thing. So.
Oh, all right. Well, do you have any advice for any upcoming writers or aspiring writers out there that are listening and saying, I can't write my first book and she's on book number 4? What kind of advice can you give them?
I always just say just finish the book. I don't know. There's a lot of people who always, I've always wanted to write a book, but I just won't. Or they'll start and then they, maybe they get stuck, they don't know what to do, and they just kind of quit. And I always just say, just finish that first book, even if it's terrible. Your first book will probably be terrible, and that's okay. But just the act of finishing it and knowing that you finished it it's like a psychological hurdle. I don't know.
I agree.
Even if you, and then I always say, and then at the end, you also have to send it somewhere. You have to do something with it. I don't know, I've known writers who will just, like, edit and fix for years. And, at some point, like, you gotta let it go. Like,
yes.
Let the baby go. Something. It will be judged, but it's okay.
Right. I think that was the hardest thing for me, to let my first one go, because I was not ready for people to say I didn't like it. And it wasn't until the first person said, I didn't really like this book. And I went, oh, well, then I didn't write it for you. And then I walked away. And I felt really empowered when I said that. After I stopped crying, I felt so empowered. Like, of course, they weren't around when the tears fell. But I was saying to myself, you know what? I'm not responsible. Well, if you don't like what I wrote, then I can't. Then I didn't write it for you. You know what I mean? I don't write. Everything that's written is not for everybody, and you have to know what your market is and what's great and all of that stuff. And that's all the marketing. We could probably go into that for days, but. Yeah. I have enjoyed this, Kristin. I really, really have. Please, please, please tell our audience how we can reach out to you, how we can become connected with you.
Well, you can, I got KristinWallaceAuthor.com. That's my website. And you can I'm on Facebook and Twitter. I think it's Kristin Wallace Author and K Wallace Author. I'm all over. But if you go to my website, you'll see all the little plugins for where I am. And you can see all the stuff about buying the book. Marry Me is the first book, Acting Up, and then July is Imagine That.
All righty. Well, much success to you, Miss Kristin. It has been truly a pleasure. I am going to get acting up. I promise I am, and I will post a review as soon as I'm done. You have a great Tuesday.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, you guys, wasn't that awesome? I love Kristin. Make sure that you go over to Amazon and Barnes & Noble and, all those places, and make sure that you pick up her book. You will be blessed. And you guys, I want to make sure that you tune in next Wednesday. We will be talking to Nicole Denise. I love her. She has, on Facebook, she has a writing club called She Writes. Her book is Beginning the Dreadfully Long, Scary, Invigorating Process of Becoming a Writer. I am Nadia Matthews. I am so glad that you all tuned in. Have a terrific Tuesday, and I'll see you next week.